Hey, Dean, Sear Performance, back at the shop, and we're working on the 72 Cutlass. Our friend and now client, DJ. We got the motor and transmission out. You can kind of see that exhaust right there, how they do the bends in these tubes. It completely kinks them. So what it was this fitting here, well, tube. Then this went kind of like that to the exhaust manifold, so you can see where they make that bend, what it does to the tube. This is why I don't like really local exhaust shops. This is what happens when you pay a lot of money for kind of a dual exhaust. So that's gone. That section of pipe will come off. I just cut it to get the motor and transmission out. I pulled it all out with the new gantry. Pulled it as one unit, the whole turbo 400, the big block. I just threw the ignition parts up on it instead of disconnecting everything. It's all one unit. Made it super easy to come out. And then this section here will probably get cut down there as well to kind of match the other side. And then what I kind of noticed in the back, I thought this was funny, is the Cutlass has these exhaust cutouts in the bumper, both sides, for dual exhaust. And your local shop just misses it by about 3 inches. Why they did that, I have no idea. Just stupid, I guess. But I just gave the car a quick bath. It's absolutely filthy. You can kind of see the stripes from the pressure washer. Car is just dirty. So I just wanted to give it a quick clean. Pressure washed inside the engine bay like 3 times. Then came across this lovely pile of weld to mount the frame mounts. Both sides. There's no point in buying the right mount when you can just put a fat cold bead of weld on it and kind of sort of make it work, and just keep welding around it until eventually it holds in place. Now I've got a little snot down at the bottom, big goober on the side, just huge amount. I mean, that's like half a spool of wire. I just don't know. I have no idea. But I pulled everything out pretty much. I left the AC intact because it is charged. It's like a vintage air system, so I left it completely intact with the charge on it. Cut that giant pile of wiring that was smashed down in there. It was for the 2 fans. They had them tied together on the same relay, which isn't really good to do. And then I got a couple of wires here that come through the firewall, just through a hole. I peeled all the foil tape off, took the throttle cable off because we're putting a new throttle cable in it, and I'll most likely pull these wires back through, and maybe utilize like one of the heater core holes, like the lower one or something, with a nice grommet, and I'll loom all this. The other side, I pulled all the wires off, and this is confusing to me. Nothing's labeled. It is like a painless sort of kind of kit. I don't think it's actually painless, but there's a few wires here, not a whole lot. Well, they are labeled. Okay, they are labeled. It's hard to see when every wire is black. So there's starter solenoid, alternator power, ignition switch, start. I don't know what these are. Oh, they are labeled. Coil, positive, tack. Okay. So they're labeled. That's cool. One more. I don't know what you are. Choke power. Okay. So they're all labeled. That'll make it easy. I do find it funny though that this is your starter solenoid wire, and it's super long. But it's got a tape junction here where I could feel they wrap the wire. Put some loom on it. I haven't peeled the loom off, but it's black, right? So it's black here. Tape a piece of wire on that's black. Now we'll pull the loom off. Wait for the surprise. Yep, and there it is. And then you've got another tape section where it goes to red. And then you come down and you got one of the funny crimps with wire exposed to another black, and then to the ring terminal with wire exposed. Not the way you do it. So most likely what I'll do with this wire is I will run it back inside the car. I'll bring it back in. Oh, there's more foil tape there, but I'll undo all these zip ties. I'll bring that back in. I'll probably string it across the firewall, come out that side, being that the starter is going to be on that side. It just make it nicer that it comes, you know, kind of down near the inner fender well and across. It'd be a little more hidden. I'm trying to keep everything a little more hidden. I might come out the hole with the holly harness. I'm going to use that hole there for the holly harness and do a grommet on it. So there was like 5 ground cables. I left this one on here. It goes to the chassis. And then it went to the battery. Then they had one that went from the battery to this fender piece here. You could see how you strip like a foot of wire and you wrap it under the nut. Yep, we'll leave it at that. Battery tray looks to be plastic. It is. So, I mean, if I can pull up on it and pull the bolt through it, probably don't want to trust that to hold your battery down. So we will redo that. Most likely relocate it to that side. I believe where the battery should be on these cars, and they just moved it because of the AC lines. So we'll maybe have to see if we can get the AC lines behind it. I may have to take the charge off and make new lines. I don't like the hose clamp idea on these. Just not sure why the aftermarket companies do it. I guess it works. I just don't like it. You know, you got the nice crimp here on this side, and then you've got the nice crimp down here. I mean, fairly nice anyways. It's got a little flat spot. It might have just been banged, but you got the nice crimp here, but then you got hose clamp, hose clamp, hose clamp, hose clamp. You know, it doesn't take a lot to size the hose. I mean, and in my opinion, these are supposed to be crimp fittings anyways, is what it looks like, because like the way the hose clamps have these little grabbers right here. I kind of understand that it keeps it from pulling back, but it's not grabbing anything. So, and then you can see here where it's more like, you could tell that's a barb inside of there, which I'm fairly certain that they're supposed to be crimped. But who knows? I mean, it wouldn't take much to run to an AC shop. You find a local AC shop that can crimp them. You know, you cut all of them, you put the fittings in with the barrel on it, get it all set, you bring all your hoses to them, have them crimp everything, come back and put it all together, and it looks neat and clean and all that stuff. We have a crimper here, so apparently I forgot a piece of foil tape over there. Didn't even see it. So But yeah, and then I went inside and there was like a little switch that came out. It was, one side of it went to ground and one side of it went to the battery. And then it was kind of strung across the dashboard, and then it came out over here, and then it was hanging down. No idea what it went to, being that one side was ground and one side was positive. I have no idea. And then I took the 3 gauges off of here. I believe that's an ashtray in these cars. And this is the cigarette lighter wires. So I'll probably end up popping this out. Maybe find a new one because that one's nasty. Find a new one. I did see the tach does work. I'd imagine the speedometer works. It's cable operated. But none of the fuel or anything, none of that works. I'll see if I can get those working. If not, I'm most likely gonna mount the handheld, the little Holly handheld. I'll probably mount it right here. I'll probably make a bracket to come off and kind of close this space in a little bit. Maybe sit it back here, and then mount the screen right here, so it's not quite as exposed, but that'll give him all his gauges. I mean, you know, putting screws up into the dashboard just ruins the dashboard. So I just don't like when people do things like that. But, you know, it is what it is. So I got a little box of parts going. Everything I take off the cars, I put them in a box. I give them back to you. If you want to throw them away, go ahead, throw them away. But for me, I give them back to you. They're your parts. But that's kind of where we're at. I got the motor. Yeah, I went through that in the other one. Also got the tank out. The sending unit off. Apparently there's a leak around the neck, and it's been like taped, some kind of like weird tape. I don't know if it's not electrical tape, it's like really weird, like that plumbing fix-all tape or something. So I'll have to sit here and clean all this off and get that to where it doesn't leak anymore. Sending in, it's like a brand new tank that somebody bought. The sending unit's like brand new. So I don't really know what happened that it leaks, but it does. Whatever. But I have some more stuff coming for like the fuel setup. Believe what I'm gonna do. Yeah, the tank's like super clean inside, which is a good thing. Full of gas, but it's super clean inside. I think what I'm gonna do with this one is come out the front with the feed, like a bulkhead fitting. I might weld the fitting onto here so that it's sealed real good, like a steel 6AN to a barb. Maybe not, because you can't get your hand in there. I don't know yet. I haven't figured it all out yet. But I did order some bulkhead fittings. I might do like a 6AN bulkhead right here and kind of hang the pump off that sending unit, and use the feed as a return and use the return as a vent, or vice versa. I might use the return as a return and use the feed as a vent. I'm not 100% sure how I want to do it, because these are a little more difficult, with the way the sending unit is actually like attached to the feed tube, you know, at the particular height. So I just have to figure that out. I haven't put a whole lot of thought into this yet, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. With this, I'm gonna take the angle grinder. I'm gonna cut those mounts off, both of them. Focus. I'm gonna cut both those mounts off, get the frame cleaned up, and I bought some like cheap frame paint. I'll just spray it real quick. You know, I'm not here to make it super fancy. The swap itself, I want it to look really good and really clean, so I don't want a dirty, disgusting frame to kind of take away from that. So I'll finish getting like all these little unneeded brackets off over here, all the nuts and bolts, all the old fuel line. I will take every inch of it off, all the way back to where it goes to the tank under the car. I get all of that off, like that ground. It goes from the firewall to the frame. That's another one. I mean, it's good to have a ton of grounds, but that's more of like a battery cable. I don't know that I would use a battery cable and go like that. It's exposed and it just doesn't look that good. So we can utilize one of the other 352 holes in the firewall and run like a factory braided style cable, like this style here, like that. Run one of those and go to the back of the block, so it's literally like a real short one, and it's hidden a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of where with this car, I like it. I'm enjoying it. Just gonna keep plugging away on it, and hopefully tomorrow, the plan is tomorrow, have everything done today, have all the little holes patched up on the firewall that aren't needed, and then tomorrow take the LS, that one, the 6.0 Vortec, whatever you want to call it, and seat that in here and start kind of mocking it up and getting it in place. I shouldn't have to change nothing on the drive shaft. Try and position the motor to where the drive shaft is the right length. When I was taking that out yesterday, it was smashed again. Another one, it was smashed in to the tail housing on the transmission. I pried to get that drive shaft out. I had to take the caps off, pry the U-joint sideways and knock it down to get it off of the rear end. It should not be like that because the axle's drooped, so it makes the drive shaft longer. So when you set the car back down on the ground, that drive shaft's trying to push into the transmission, it's trying to push in, and it literally shoves everything forward inside the transmission. It's not good for the transmission, it's not good for the rear end. So I will address that and give it, you know, that ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch of slide that it needs. It's a slip yoke. They call it a slip yoke for a reason, not so that it slips out, so that it can slip in and out, for suspension travel. And being that he wants to lower the car and do some other stuff with it too, like you probably wouldn't be able to lower the car. It would probably bind on that. We'll make it right. That's what we do. We'll make it clean, make it look good, make it run really good. The Holly Terminator X should be here soon, so I want to get everything in, get it ready so they can just plug all that in, wire it, fire it, drive it. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of new videos, and leave a comment. I will reply. Thanks. Have a good day.